of mine, Mr. Robert Kabushenga, the CEO of the Vision Group, and recently a farmer, at least according to his social media profile. But we're going to find out a bit more. My second guest is Mr. Tony Otoa from Stanbic, the head of enterprise development. He'll be joining us a bit later on. I look forward to hosting these two guests today. Welcome to the Cedric Live Show. On the show today, I have a good friend of mine and one of the media moguls in Uganda. Without him, you can't even discuss media. On the show today, we have the CEO of the Vision Group, Mr. Robert Kabushenga. Welcome to the show, Robert.
What favor are you looking for?
Well, I mean, you followed me on Twitter today. It's taken you like 10 years to follow me.
I have to be careful. All these praises you're showering on me, I need to just figure out where you're going to slip.
Yeah, but of course, I mean...
Your hand in my pocket and let me keep my wallet.
But ultimately, seriously, when people speak of media in Uganda,
yes,
it's very hard to separate that from your name.
I think it's actually quite easy.
Yeah.
Because the institution that I work for exists in its own right. And so I try so hard as I can to sort of separate myself from it. But like that's why I'm saying I have to be very careful with...
I'll be coming to get the favors back, so let's just wait till then. So tell me a little bit about yourself. You know, where you went to primary school, secondary. You know,
I have a very strange history. Every single school I've been to has closed. Every single school I've been to has closed.
Does that mean
so
the Vision Group is going to close?
Maybe when I leave. But so I went to so for kindergarten I went to YMCA nursery school. It used to belong to Mrs. Maweno. It closed. Then I went to Shimoni Demonstration School for primary school. It closed.
Yes.
I went to Nomasagali College. It's pretty much closed. Then I stayed in Lumumba. It is about to close because
it needs to be renovated.
Yeah, otherwise it's so. So that's my history, schooling history.
What did you study at university? What did you do?
I studied law.
So you're a lawyer?
Yes, I have never been a day in a journalism class or anywhere near a journalism school. Never.
Well, you've done a few years now, so I think you
now I have studied. Because of working in there, I am now fairly knowledgeable about a lot of media issues, which, by the way, might be a good thing. Because sometimes if you're a member of the profession, you're forced to think within the rules and regulations and structures of that profession.
You're a bit too critical.
No, you're such a compliant fellow,
yes,
that you never think radically outside of your profession.
Yes.
You never question certain things because they're established traditions. So sometimes it has to take an outsider to come and question why things are done this way and do them differently.
I mean, you've been at the Vision Group how many years now? I mean,
all my life.
All your life?
Yes.
Which is how many years?
Well, half of my life. So I first go to work at Vision. I was a university student and in desperate need of pocket money.
Right.
So I go there to to get a job packing newspapers at night and then studying during the day at Makerere. That was 1991.
Right.
And so I did that job for 4 years because, one, I couldn't tell my parents lies about the need for money.
Yes.
I went home twice, asked for pocket money. I was told the first time, here it is. The second time it was cut by half. The third time I was told there isn't any. And yet I needed money. I had to exist somehow. So I went and got a job working on the factory floor. I did that for about 4 years. And then I progressed because I did packing papers, distributing them in town and things so I did that for 4 years, and then halfway I left to go and do exactly the same job at the Monitor.
Right.
So then when I finished university...
Do the Monitor guys know that now?
Yeah, well, I don't know if the guys now know it, or maybe they've revised me out of their history.
They deleted you out of the...
Well, it's not possible to do that because it's there. I mean, I worked with... So then, so then I went and worked. So I started my formal job as a legal officer at the Monitor for 1 year. Then I was offered the same position at Vision in 1997. And I've been there ever since, except for 1 year between 2005 and 2006, when I was given the responsibility to set up the Uganda Media Center. in the president's office.
Right, yes.
Now, it's while I was at the media center that I was appointed as managing director to replace William Pike, and so I've been there ever since.
That's actually my next question.
Yes.
William Pike, he's a legend. I
Yes.
think in that space.
Yes.
He set up, I think, the Vision Group in 86?
Yes.
In 1986.
Yes.
And then you took over in 2007.
Yes.
So he'd been running the show for 21 years.
Yes.
So those were big shoes to fill, from the perspective of, where he was coming from. Did you feel like you were stepping into a big shadow?
There's one thing, Cedric, you must never, ever, ever do in your life.
Yes.
You must never try to fill someone else's shoes.
Yes.
Never. When somebody is done with his shoes, tell him to take them.
All right.
Yeah. Because otherwise you'll be clumping around clueless how to walk in big shoes.
So I tell Oprah,
take your shoes.
Take your
I'll
shoes.
come with my
Yeah,
own.
I'll come with Cedric.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I told William, thank you very much. It's been nice knowing you.
Yeah.
Take your shoes. I'll bring my own. So you bring your own shoes. And figuratively, it means that you come with your own style.
Right.
You come with your own way of building on the foundation that exists. Yep.
So in effect, you create your own legacy.
Yes.
And you feel you've done that?
I think it's our mutual friend Andrew Mwenda who told us a story that when Xu Enlai, who was the Prime Minister of China, was asked to comment about the effect of the French Revolution of 1789, he said it's too early to tell. This is 2 centuries later.
Fair enough.
So I don't know if I have. I would like to leave that for other people to judge.
But you're happy with what you've done over the years?
Let's say that I have had incredible joy and fulfillment, and in the sense that I would not have done any other job the way I have done this one. It's been very fulfilling.
Now, how do you feel about the sentiment? And I think this is for UBC as well.
Yeah.
That the Vision Group, even UBCs, are functions of government.
Yes.
And very much like UBC, we cannot report impartially. What is your response on that? Because I get it a lot.
There isn't a single media house in the world that is impartial.
Can you want to tell me a bit more
Yeah.
about that?
NHK of Japan pushes the Japanese agenda.
Yes.
All American media houses push the American agenda. There is no way BBC is going to start a bulletin with Trump.
I think what the thing is, when we're speaking to people, we're not speaking about, of course, everybody pushes the Ugandan agenda, because we can only report on Ugandan
Not everybody.
news. But what I'm saying is, in this context...
I think, Cedric, what has happened is we've gotten, in the industry, we've gotten caught up in this thing that somehow, for you to be considered an independent and objective media person or house or journalist, you have to keep attacking the government and establishment.
Correct.
That's not correct. It's a mistaken view.
Yeah.
And why have we remained number one in spite of our ownership and persistent attacks and people painting us with that brush?
Yes.
Because the audiences can make a judgment. If you're objective, if you deliver a good quality product, they will come to you. They know, the audiences know how to judge. So this nonsense about ownership and lack of objectivity, who cares? People just want to know, did you tell this story the way it is? They will punish you or they'll praise you. They don't care who your owner is.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I have the same view. I believe
and anyway, that's also another thing. In Kenya, especially during Moi's time, today I don't know, but during Moi's time, the only establishment you trusted to give you authentic news about government was Voice of Kenya. So equally, what institutions like ours need to do, whether it's Vision Group or UBC, is you establish yourself as the authority on the communications that come from the government. You may not like your government, but it exists.
Right.
And it is very consequential in your life.
Correct.
So you had better trust the sources of information. Yes. So you can leverage your position in such a way that it brings. So I've ignored those people.
Yeah.
I'm not bothered
And
about
ultimately, you're the leading newspaper. I think I read somewhere you had revenues of something like 15 billion or something.
We
like
turn over every year about 90, somewhere between 90 and 95 billion
Right.
a year, and we get all this money from the market, and that's the difference that people don't understand. The difference between us and UBC is that we exist in sort of different spaces.
Yes.
So, and the example I want to give is like Mulago Hospital and the proposed new hospital in Lubowa. The proposed new hospital in Lubowa will be a fully commercial thing. Its ownership doesn't matter.
Right.
The one of Mulago is to serve the public. Finished.
Correct.
They are both owned by the same person serving two different purposes. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to cut to break, and when we get back, we'll talk a little bit more about your appointment as CEO of the Vision Group. Welcome back to the Cedric Live Show. I'm still here with Mr. Robert Kabushenga, the CEO of the Vision Group. Robert, now, ever since you went to the helm, or you got to the helm of the Vision Group,
Yes.
I see that you've diversified into television, which wasn't the case back in 2007, and radio.
Yes.
How has that been for you? Because I see there's XFM, there's Urban TV, Bukede TV.
Now that I can look back and say it's probably one of my moments of great genius.
Yeah.
No,
It's okay.
I think that at that point in time, I was able to see that we had, I think philosophers call it an existential threat. I didn't see that we had very much life left in the print.
Yes.
I didn't, at most I could see that we had 15 years in that line of business. But I could also see at that time that you could no longer exist in this market with only one platform.
Yes.
So we set out therefore to say, let's build a media ecosystem that feeds off each other, but also supports each other. And that way, you're able to serve your clients like a one-stop center, but what it does is that the effect of a reinforcing media setup.
Yes.
So that's what we went for. And at that time, we felt that we had lost time because we needed to we should have gone into radio about 10 years before. And television, we should have done that like at the time when WBS was going into television.
Yes.
Because I used to tell William, if WBS can operate in a flat, we don't need a big establishment to run a television.
Yes.
So when I saw all of this stuff, I said, we're going into this. The next thing was figuring out the model. And the reason was very simple. We pay for our existence. So if you're going as a leader, this is the one thing you must do. You can never, ever allow your people to go hungry. You see, when you're given a job as a leader, you are responsible for people's lives. So I couldn't go and face the employees of Vision and tell them, you know, I've been driving around in a nice swanky car as your CEO, but we have no business anymore. So it forces you to think about their future. While they're giving you their present, they're in the office every day, they're giving you results.
I like that thing about being a leader and trying to find ways for your people to survive.
You must.
Yeah.
You must. Leadership is not about the prestige and the position and the honors that you get. Leadership is about the fact that somebody will go to bed trusting that when they wake up in the morning, you have taken care of business. That's absolutely essential.
I think that to some extent is social responsibility.
Not social responsibility, no. This is obligation. It's not just something, it's not a nice thing to do.
Right.
When you're leading a team of people, you're responsible for their livelihood, you're responsible for their food, you're responsible for their children's welfare, you're responsible for all those things. So when you're making decisions, making choices, making judgment, you must always remember there is a cleaner, there is a manager. All of them have one obligation. They've got to feed, they've got to sleep, their kids have to go to school.
You know, there are going to be a lot of people out there just listening to you now, thinking to themselves that you're a really nice person.
No, I am not a nice person.
No?
No, it's just the job.
I've never heard anybody admit that. I mean, okay.
It's a job that has to be done. It's just, that's your job. You're not a nice person to clean a toilet. You just happen to be the one who's to clean the toilet. So clean it. So that the next guy who comes finds a fresh place that he can use. That's all. If you're the driver, make sure the car is functioning.
Right.
So that's the way I looked at things. So I figured out that for this company, William had run it for 20 years, it had succeeded. for it not to collapse on my watch, we had to do certain things to generate diverse sources of income that can sustain us. And that's why we did what we had to do.
Yeah, because Bukede is the leading television in the country at the moment, isn't it?
Yes, we have a footprint of 6 radio stations who, when you put their performance together, in revenue terms, it is good.
Right.
Now, also you are able to keep your audiences engaged, because as the audiences that go for print begin to decline, you're dealing with them in other existences. So you don't just give them away to other people.
So it's across the platform.
Yes.
Now, what do you think of, I really like what you said about having an obligation to your staff.
Yeah.
I think I might have to take that back to where I am. But what do you think of journalism in Uganda today? My view is that it seems to have diluted a little bit.
Journalism, we had a very interesting experiment.
Right.
Journalism grew wildly, and we had a fantastic run in the country. Something has gone badly wrong. Badly wrong. And it's a very simple thing called money. So money has entered the profession.
Yes.
And people have left journalism and gone into propaganda and praise singing. And so...
But even worse, not just praising, destruction.
No, I didn't want to go that side. I'm just saying that.
Praise singing is okay.
Yeah, there's praise singing, there's malice, there's damage, there's all sorts of things. So the whole fake news industry has exploded and so on. So my issue is that I think we need a lot of soul searching. What do we exist for today in the context where audiences can now talk to themselves? They don't need us anymore. They don't need our platforms. What they need from us is our ability to get good information. Now, if we're telling them lies, then they're going to leave us and go to people who can tell them the truth. Then, of course, there are other things that have happened, is that the profession was invaded by, I'm going to cause controversy here. It's been invaded by what in the Bible are called Philistines.
So you might cause controversy.
It's okay. Because,
but it's okay.
Yeah, because I'm trying to be a purist here. But you see, nowadays, anybody and everybody who is on a media platform that says anything is called a journalist. Some people are comedians, others are entertainers. Some really are nothing people.
Gossipers.
Yeah, now all of those have entered the profession and diluted it and created a wrong perception of it. So a guy who is going to go to Karamoja or going to go to Turkana or going to go to South Sudan and do a good investigative story or bring good content to you is equated with a joker who comes on air and starts talking rubbish.
So at this particular moment in time in Uganda, what can the regulators do? And I think in this case it's UCC.
I'm not interested in regulators. I think they have absolutely no clue where the industry is going, whether we're coming or going. I think they have a completely different agenda. And they will never...
Sure, we have the National Association of Broadcasters, UCC.
No,
who can help us to police these issues?
No, it's not a policing issue, Cedric. I think we need a system of guarantors.
Well, explain that a bit more.
Yeah, sometimes you need, like, shall I say, for want of a better word, and I'm not campaigning for a job for myself, you need a system of elders who can guarantee the industry, who, if there is a problem in the industry, those who are offended, for instance, by the media, can go to some place and say, you know what, the way you guys in your industry are behaving is a problem. So all the other industries, lawyers, doctors, engineers, have systems of guaranteeing self-regulation, self-standard setting. If you haven't achieved certain things, you can't be registered as an engineer. You can't even be allowed to practice.
Correct.
So even in journalism, that is lacking.
There has to be a checklist.
Yeah. Now,
how you qualify.
Now, see, the people who built this industry left it and went to do other things. So Wafula went off into politics. William left. Charles is in Nairobi. So we've sort of been orphaned. Now, our generation, a lot of people went into other things, academia, PR. So the industry didn't have guarantors who can look up and say, no, this is how standards are kept in the industry.
So nights of a round table of sorts of
yes.
Yeah.
So people who you say, yes, even if say there was a big problem, or even not even if there's a problem, who young people can look up to role models.
Right.
And you say, in order for me to do journalism, I'm inspired by Andrew Mwenda, or I'm inspired by Daniel Kalinaki, or I'm inspired by Simon Kaheru, or I'm inspired by, so that there is a standard. You see, one of my favorite photographers is a lady called Annie Leibovitz.
Yes.
So who is a Ugandan Annie Leibovitz?
Yes.
Who young people can, or let's take Sewali, who is your cameraman. I mean, has Sewali built sufficient quantity for young aspiring people in his industry to want to be like a Sewali?
Yes.
So we need a lot of that, because that's what will set the standards. Not every guy filming a wedding suddenly becomes, exactly. Those are my things, that there have to be some minimums.
Now, Robert, we're going to go to break. And when we come back, we're going to be joined by Tony Otoa.
Why do you have to
Stanbic.
do that to me?
No. He says he knows you.
You are the company you keep. Do I want to keep Otoa's company?
But I think so. I'll keep company because he works for Stanbic.
All right.
So I'll keep company with him.
He has money. Okay,
the
good.
overdraft time is coming. Okay, we'll be right back with Tony Otoa and Robert. Welcome back to the Cedric Live Show. On the show, we still have Mr. Robert Kabushenga, the CEO of the Vision Group, who's been with us in the earlier segments. But joining us now is Mr. Tony Otoa from Stanbic, the head of enterprise development. Tony, good to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
Can I have a loan before we start?
Well, let's first discuss how you can be compliant to get the loan first.
Yes, a good question. Now, whenever we do these shows, we do a bit of a background check.
Right.
Usually Google.
Yes.
We're not
Yes.
we're not going that deep. Yes. So we want to know, how a man like you gets into a position like this.
Right.
Where were you before? What were you doing?
Right. Mine is a very interesting story, actually. Kind of similar to Robert's here. Well, my first job was a town boy. I was a town boy on a truck. Then went into journalism. I went into journalism.
Did you say town boy?
Yes, a town boy on a truck.
Where?
So we used to move dry fish from from Jinja to Mbale, and then from Mbale we would move on to Kumi, Soroti, and all these places to get dry cassava and bring it to Jinja in a place called Kazimingi.
So okay.
Yeah, so then I moved into journalism. So I moved into Monitor at the time. Yeah, so I moved into Monitor at the time. I without any journalism experience or all of that, I managed to climb up to the point of becoming a senior parliamentary reporter, reporting from Parliament, where I was also the Secretary General of the Parliamentary Press Association.
Right.
Immediately after that, I got so bored, then went into my Cheyo vibes, where I worked in the kitchen for quite a while. I learned my grilling thing, and that's where my love for cooking comes in. Then I decided to go to school. So I went to school. I decided to get into international relations and law school, and did that for my first degree, and then did my master's in international law. All of these, of course, through hustling, doing several jobs to pay for your tuition and pay for your upkeep. Then I come back to Uganda around 10 to 12.
I heard you saying that you went to school in England. And
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
So
that's some hustle, eh?
Yes, I had
From
to.
town boy to the UK.
Oh yeah,
that's a hustle.
And the hustle continued because I had to work at Ladbrokes from about 2 o'clock.
That's the
to
betting
about,
company, yeah?
The betting company.
Yes.
2 o'clock to about 8 o'clock, and then I had to go to a kitchen in a place called Headington in Oxford to do last-minute orders, washing up the kitchen and cleaning it up for the next people the next day. And then I would move to the post office and do that until about 4, sorting letters.
Yes.
Then around 4 to 8, sleep, 9 o'clock school, and after school, the clock starts again.
But don't you think young guys need to hear this story? I hear them here complaining that they can't hustle.
Yeah,
now, this is a hustle.
No. That's why I have this belief in me that nothing is impossible and anyone can do whatever they want to do if they choose to. So I come back to Uganda and I decide to take a keen interest in the oil and gas sector. So with my friend Angelo Izama, we begin really writing and going around,
I promised him that
understanding this thing.
I promised him that one day he'll grace me with his presence.
He needs to come because his story is also interesting and his background story is
He had
another
a haircut
interesting one.
yesterday, so he's...
He had yes, in Bugolobi. But what's interesting though is I really get involved in this oil and gas sector and start reading much about it, getting involved in it, and start doing some work for ACCORD, the Advocates Coalition for Environment and Advocates Coalition for Environment. After some time, I decided to then move back to my own private firm that I had set up called Great Lakes Public Affairs.
Yes.
And for me, it was just about helping companies that want to get into the country to get a fair understanding of Uganda.
Right.
So it was kind of like a country risk analysis, looking at the economy, looking at the politics, looking at, the issues around setting up or how you can actually do business successfully in Uganda.
Correct.
Around that time, I get a call from Total Exploration and Production at about 6 o'clock, and they're asking me to come in for a meeting, and I'm thinking, okay, this meeting, it's a good deal or a good gig for my company.
But this must be recently because
This
Total
is 2013 now.
Okay.
So 2013, I go and sit in this office with this lady called Ahlem, and we talk for like an hour. And I'm thinking, when is this deal thing happening?
Wasn't it earlier? When did we meet in the gym?
So we met in the gym around 2013, 2014, because I joined towards December 2012.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
Do you guys still meet in the gym?
no, he moved to an up class gym and left
Yeah,
us in,
yeah, of
you
course.
know.
Hey,
we
but
people,
I must
there are levels, right?
I must give credit to Robert. I
the
always see him running.
The up-class gym is the roadside.
Yes,
That's
he
what
runs
he's
on the road.
talking
I do
about.
see him.
But I run more than he does, by the way.
It's all right. I am 30 years older than you.
No, but I do give him credit.
So-
He does.
so his
So
mind
these
is
guys
really-
are healthy living, basically.
Yes.
So sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
So I moved into Total, and I think it was a very nice experience because I got to really understand the sector. So I began my first role as a public affairs manager, really dealing with negotiations, policy, understanding
So what
how...
you're saying, that 1 hour worked.
Oh yeah. So that
convince
one
you
hour,
that-
I mean, because she comes in and says, you know what, at the end of the day, we just want you for this job, the public affairs role.
Right.
So are you okay to come in? And I thought, but my infant company, how do I let it survive? But I ended up getting into Total.
Right.
So I get into Total, and it was a nice experience because I really got grounded onto this whole oil and gas sector. And I think for me, that is where I really thought I could have an impact in this whole oil and gas story. So I then get appointed as well National Content Manager, which was about helping businesses understand the oil and gas sector, but also getting them ready to engage with the oil and gas sector. So that is now how I get involved in that. Then after about 5 years, I get a little... I started seeking for another challenge.
Right.
So I end up quitting that job and going back to my farm, and he keeps laughing at me with my fish at the farm, always asking how the fish is going. But I went back to my fish farm in Lira, and it was quite an
that's where you're from, Lira?
Yes, I am actually from Lira.
I think I have one of my people on the crew here
From Lira, yeah?
From Lira.
And they're always intelligent, right?
Where is she? Is she here?
Well.
Come on the
Let
set.
us be the judges.
Come. I want you to meet her. This is going to be in the show, by the way. So come. I want you to come and introduce yourself.
So that's my sister.
Yes. So first of all,
Yeah.
she is. You're from Lira, right?
Yes,
And you know Tony?
no, I don't, but
Now she knows me.
no, I do.
Yeah, you can introduce yourself
Come
because
on.
Copy.
It's here.
Yeah, tell me.
There we go.
wonderful.
Can we get back to English?
Nice. Thank you for coming, Rachel. So
So that was it. And then, I mean, after leaving the job, I then got asked by Patrick to come and actually head enterprise development at Stanbic. So I go through...
But how come Patrick doesn't ask me?
No. You see, Cedric, it's probably the thing that I forgot to say,
Yes.
which is in this story, that do the job, and I learned this from Dick Cheney's book. He said, do the job you're doing now with total dedication.
Yes.
It will ensure that you get your next job without you asking.
Without you asking. Yeah.
A lot of people are doing the current job, marking time, looking for another one.
Yeah.
Without actually applying themselves.
So
in
this
their
one.
job.
Yeah. You know.
So,
Martin-
so you've never applied for a job?
No.
I-
I believe in this Martin Luther kind of saying, if you are not the big tree, be the small shrub, but be the best small shrub in the bushes.
Yeah.
If you're not the road, at least be that
The best footpath.
the best footpath. If you're a sweeper, be the best sweeper so that people say, this place is not clean because this guy
Is not here.
is not here. That is what makes people, having value, that is what makes people valuable. And I think that is what I kind of like took through my whole working or career process. And that is how I get to the bank. So I've never worked in a bank before. I had never seen the walls of a bank apart from going to withdraw money or deposit money. But it's been a very nice 1 year where we have...
Money. I ask for money all the time.
Well, asking for
always
money
say
is
no.
always good, but you see, it's also about how you ask and use the money.
Yes.
So the enterprise development program that we have now, I think for us has been one of those best stories.
Let's stick on that for a minute.
Yeah.
What is enterprise development? For us guys who
Right.
don't really
Right.
get these terms.
in English.
In simple
Okay.
terms.
Let me first give it a background. Uganda is one of the most entrepreneurial countries in the world, if
I've
not
heard.
the number one entrepreneurial country in the
I've
world. But in the same way, the businesses that die in less than 3 years
Yes.
are so many. So enterprise development is about helping these enterprises become more solid, more sustainable over a longer period of time. We want them to have the Madivani stories, generational businesses. Yeah, the meta stories. Not this thing of Robert's business, as soon as Robert is out, then the farm is also out of it collapses because it doesn't have systems and so many things. So what we do is we train businesses on not just management, but systems, financial management, compliance, becoming better and also becoming more visual in terms of the long term. And that is what we try to do.
When we come back from the break, we'll speak about the Stanbic Business Incubator a little more and maybe hear Robert's view on how we can either get involved,
Yes.
make it better, critique it,
Right.
see what we can do. We'll be back from the break in a second. Welcome back to the Cedric Live Show. I'm here with two very inspiring gentlemen who've just told me their story. There is Mr. Robert Kabushenga, the CEO of Vision Group, who started way back in the 90s, basically distributing newspapers, packaging them.
No.
No.
I started by selling bread in our neighborhood in 1977.
Okay, he's taken me back, way back, right, by selling bread.
I was
in
a
77.
vendor.
Right, I won't even tell you how old I was then. And then Tony Otoa, the head of enterprise banking, who told me a very inspiring story of how he started his career as a turn boy. So Tony, it's very inspiring, and I'm sure the audience out there is going to be inspired by both of you in terms of where you came from, where you are today. But let's talk about what you're doing at Stanbic.
Right.
You head up the Stanbic Business Incubation Program.
Yes.
And this is, what is it, first of all?
So this is a program that is premised around companies, typical SMEs. We know SMEs are the biggest employers in this country. They contribute a lot to the GDP.
20%.
of this
Let me ask
country.
something.
20%.
Somebody asked me a very interesting
Right.
question the other day. Somebody who's employed and said to me, but I keep hearing SMEs. What does SME mean?
Yeah. Small, medium enterprises.
And what
you
is
actually also
small?
have micro, which is micro now becoming the really small ones. Those are with,
No,
they have,
SME is the production company, the guys who have cameras here. This is an SME now.
yes.
Right.
So you have the kind of number that makes
So
them
small
SME.
is like these chaps.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then you have micro, which is less than 5.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, micro now becomes the really, really small one. So these guys are pretty much
Mom and
small.
pop guys who do mandazi.
So, yes.
who do
Then what's
Yes.
medium?
Medium now has more than 100
Employees.
employees. But again, also that definition varies. I mean, the different partners we're working with have a different idea of how many people make up a typical enterprise.
Because
So,
some of these tech companies are making millions, but
yeah,
they don't employ more
some,
than 20, 30 people
but some of it is measured in turnover.
in turnover.
exactly.
Right?
Yes, also turnover. Turnover also plays a very vital role. So yeah, so we get these companies and take them through a 3-month training program.
Right.
Where we train them using the best facilitators in this country. We don't just go anywhere around the country. Otherwise, we would have been going looking for Robert. But we get the best guys besides Robert.
What are you saying?
Why do you low blow him like that on my show? That's below the belt.
I have a media house. I'll get back.
Yeah, so we train them for about 3 months, and then after 3 months, we take them through a 9-month period of mentorship and coaching,
Right.
where everything they've learned is actually put into their businesses And the coach makes sure that the business plan that they have given us or provided us is what they're following. So before you graduate from the enterprise or from the training, you have to have a business plan provided to us. Now, you know what is shocking? 90% or more of the businesses in this country or in East Africa have no business plans.
That's true.
They're all working ad hoc. Juakali, chichitambula.
Yes, no plan.
No plan. So just moving, and that's why they get their fingers burnt.
Right.
But with the business plan, you can look at the trajectory of your business, where you want to see it in the next month, where you want. I mean, all of these things are focused on. So we are now doing that in Kampala, but we've expanded now to the regions, where we are now in Gulu for the north, Mbarara for the west, and Mbale for the east. And then we have a very interesting program which we launched on Tuesday this week, which is the agribusiness project in Hoima. Now, this is again looking at how we can make people start thinking of agriculture as a business. Do not just plant and then sell the surplus, but think about how you can actually make money
Beyond
out
subsistence.
of. Exactly.
Now, that's very interesting because a year ago I went to Robert's office. I don't even know why I was
The
there.
farm or the real office?
No, the
My day job.
day job at the Vision Group.
Yes.
And I don't know why we were speaking about this, but somehow we started to drift towards what young people should be focusing on in this day and age. And I think we spoke about coffee.
Yes.
And as you've seen, Robert, out of his 10 tweets,
Yes.
9.5 belong to...
Today is actually World Coffee Day.
Yeah, you see, he's going to start. As soon as he leaves here, he's going to start his coffee business. But Rob, what do you think? How do you think this Stanbic business incubation relates to what it is that you're doing, and maybe you're a bit past that, but in terms of young people and their businesses?
You see, when we were younger, there was no opportunity like what's being created by Tony at Stanbic. For us, it was survival. So either you survived or you died.
You had to guess.
Somehow, you had to figure it out, and we made many mistakes. So the key issue is, how do we create awareness amongst young people about this opportunity? But we must also manage their expectations. This is not a charity. You see, the expectations of young people is that I'll go to Stanbic, I'll get this money, and I'll blow it, and I'll move on. Part of that problem is created by the families they come from. So because you're paying fees and giving kids pocket money, you're not getting them to understand the correlation between money and certain outcomes. So they will go to his incubation with the same mindset, and they will make those mistakes. So in my opinion, I think what we ought to do is, while we are training people and incubating them, there needs to be a process outside that manages the expectations of young people. Understand what the business is you want to do. Don't go and start a salon because your friend is doing a salon. Don't go and start an online boutique because you've seen somebody is doing an online boutique.
Yeah, you do see a lot of that copycat business. All the young girls are doing fashion, all the young boys are doing something else.
Someone has a mobile phone shop, then the next person wants to put up a mobile phone shop next to him. Forgetting that if you put probably accessories next to that mobile phone shop, it complements the mobile phone shop.
The complementarity.
I mean,
but going back to this, issue of money, the concept of money, I see with the Asian families, the Indians, the Chinese, Lebanese.
There is a big...
Now, they teach their children at a very young age the value of money.
I am much less critical now of our people than I used to be. I also used to be very, I say Asians, and there is a culture issue. There is a culture issue. We come from a culture for generations. We grew up being told that money is a bad thing. Yeah. You just go and pray to God. That's the best thing. Making money is sinful.
Sinful. You will become...
Meanwhile, in the Indian household, making money is glorious. And this is how you make it.
Yes.
And it starts with many things. I want you to go to an Indian home and have a meal. You will never see Indians wasting food at the table.
Yes.
Us guys have made buffet a lifestyle. So people go serve everything, then eat half of it and dump the rest away.
My point was to demystify, as you said, money.
There's no mystery around money.
Exactly. So the problem is, this is maybe a morbid way of putting it. wealthy family, wealthy mother, wealthy father. Somebody passes away. The children squander the money.
Greed.
Yeah, no, because they've never, it has not been demystified.
No, it's not.
So all of a sudden, they buy the Land
Cedric,
Cruiser,
Cedric,
they buy the
no,
hotel.
Cedric, stop making excuses for bad behavior.
But bad behavior is taught at home.
No, just to deal with
Charity
it.
begins
It's-
at
That's
home.
what it's not about money. It is about the values in a family. If you are greedy people, the boy has been watching you, you are greedy, you the father. Then as soon as he gets access to your money, he becomes greedy.
Yes.
So the thing is, what values, what lessons have we learned? And what values are we passing on to our children?
Yes.
That's most important. There will be money. There's been money since time immemorial. It's the way you come at money. So if you're wasteful, you will be wasteful with clothes, you will be wasteful with food, you will be wasteful with money.
Now, as you've said, going back to the incubator, and this is what the incubator is supposed to, I guess that's what it stands for.
Yeah.
Teaching people how to run their businesses, how to have a relationship with money, that being the banks, financial institutions. And I think it's a good thing. As Robert said, when we were growing up, that opportunity probably wasn't there.
there.
And people were, you said people don't have business plans. That's because, I don't think it's because they don't want them. They don't know how. Remember we were having a conversation earlier. If you don't know there is something,
Then
you know, if somebody asks me today, do you know what it feels like to be a billionaire? I've said, no, I've never been a billionaire.
So you can't aspire to
You
be.
can't, I can't, why, I can't aspire, you know? But, you know, I think that the incubator does provide those opportunities.
I think, we do provide those opportunities and more. But I think what's most key is, or what is more important is, we do not only provide the training, but we provide access to finance.
Right.
The different finance options. You know, people think that getting money is from the bank only.
Yes.
No. You can have financing for your business through equity.
Yeah.
You can have financing for your business through venture capital funds.
Yes.
There's so many ways. But for equity and venture capital funds to come into play, you have to have an attractive business. We were talking earlier. You go to a Muzungu and you say, aha, the man has his money. It's here. And you say, I have this business. It moves. Give me money and I'll double it. First of all, they'll ask you for a business plan. Then they'll ask you for your plans for the next one.
No, records for the last 3 years, zero.
Zero.
Audited accounts.
Leave audited accounts, just records.
Yeah, there is no way you can give me your money if I can't prove that. So what we try to do is to make your businesses attractive to funding, different funding options. There's a company that we trained in the first cohort. This company was
This is the second year of the incubator.
This is the second year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last year, it was one of the first companies we trained. It was a briefcase company. We styled this company up, and today they are doing contracts for the Uganda National Oil Company in the big fuel depot in Jinja. They are doing works for Sinopec, the Chinese National Offshore Oil Company. They are doing contracts for several other. I'm talking of crazy thousands of dollars contracts.
And this is only in a period of a year, right?
Less than a year, boss. But how did that happen? They became compliant. It's just about a mindset. You know, it's all about the paradigm. You know, paradigm shift.
Thank you.
How do you stop thinking in that small...
It's not
You know?
small. You see, we are villagers. We are villagers.
We are villagers.
Yes, even those of you sitting here think because you are in a studio with lights, we're all villagers in the head.
So
We
the moment you switch that off,
yes.
I think the rest of everything just starts to fall into place.
See, the villager doesn't believe that he will wake up tomorrow.
Yes.
So me, I am saying, you never know. Let me buy my car now. But you actually don't need the car. You are a cost.
Gentlemen, it's been great to have you. I would like to stay here and keep you guys all day.
Right.
But I'd like to ask you both, to give a 30-second parting shot to the viewers. Tell them what advice you can give them, especially the young people. Our population is 70% young people, under 30. So we'll start with you, Robert, as a parting shot to the viewers.
Try and understand yourself.
Yeah, that wasn't even, was that even 5 seconds?
So I'll take most of his
You
time.
can take most of his time.
I think for me, the most important thing in life is not, and I wouldn't want to talk about what I'm doing, or we've talked much about what I do and who I am. I think I just wanted to say that for you to really achieve a lot in life, it's all about adding value to yourself.
Yes.
If I concentrated on anything Every day I gave it 1 hour. In less than a year, I would be one of the few experts in the world on that particular thing. So becoming a person of value makes you attractable or attractive. You know, we all yearn for success, but success is not the issue and shouldn't be the focus. If you become a person of value, success is inevitable. So I think that's all I can say, really. Becoming a person of value, a young person of value, and adding a lot of, you know, sync to your life and the right networks.
It's your whole Cedric live in the capital.